Good morning. So you can definitely hear the chickens wanting to come out. They're still getting used to the time change and everything like that. Looking for the crows. Usually you can hear them or see them in the morning because they keep the hawks away. There's been many times where we come out and unfortunately they're eating things out of the garden, but I guess that's the price I'll pay for keeping my chickens alive. Because like I said, the hawks the hawks are staying away because of the crows, and you can see daily times where they're being chased away by the crows. So if I have to sacrifice a couple watermelons to keep my chickens safe, then I'll definitely do it. So last night was probably the most, I'd say, nerve-wracking night I've had in quite a while. So we woke up, it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and you could hear the coyotes not that far away. And with the chicks and the chickens, I mean, the chickens are locked up, no problem with that. But with the chicks, it makes me really nervous, and I almost feel like I sleep a little lighter because of it. I am switching these guys to 2 feeders, and I'll get back to the coyotes in a second. So we switched to 2 feeders because 1 feeder, they're emptying it in 20 minutes now. And at this point, I just want to make sure that they're happy, getting all the food that they need, and I'm still coming out now after the first hour or two to verify that, you know, everything is still nice and full, or at least there's food in the containers. So, like I was saying last night with the coyotes, I've heard stories around here where they've chased people right up into the trees, hunters, and actually dragged away the deer while the hunter was sitting up in the tree. So they're really not anything to mess with. And with the chicken tractor, it wouldn't take much to really dig underneath it. And that's why I've built it as heavy as I could. But like I said, it's become a pain for us to move, or I guess not so much for me, but for Alina, it can be difficult sometimes for her to really pull that along, especially when it's real dry or if the grass is really long at the same time. It even becomes a pain for me. So we will be rebuilding that after this season, because I'm going to be building something more lower to the ground and something just a lot bigger, so they have more square footage on the ground versus the headroom, which they really don't need because they don't perch. They'd rather just flop on the ground. So we heard one lone coyote, and then all of a sudden you could hear probably 6 or 7 of them howling, almost like I don't even know the right word, but they go really high pitch yips, and not always exactly sure what that means, but from what I've been told is that's when they have found something or killed something, and that's how they're alerting everybody else to the kill. So it was way off in the fields, so I can't complain about that, but like I said, you can hear them getting closer and closer, which is nerve-wracking when you have 27 meat birds out in the coop or in the tractor, and in one quick movement they could all be gone, and then the weeks and weeks of hard work, the food, everything like that you put into it is gone in one foul swoop. So I'm going to be anchoring it down on the corners with cinder blocks. The new design will also have a little bit more features in it for added security for weight that we can add to it. So now I'm going to do the other chickens and let them out because they are not happy inside there. Normally in the morning they will well, I had to pet them but apparently they just want food more this morning. So I'm actually looking to increase their food because as they go into molting and getting their winter feathers, our Easter eggers have kind of stopped production. So I've also been looking into, from what I've been told, you can do cat food temporarily. I still have to look a little bit more into that to see what's all included with that and make sure it's good for the chickens and it won't have any adverse effects on them. But from what I'm hearing, basically the only difference with the cat food is it's a higher, way higher protein. So I might even see if I can switch to a higher protein chicken food to see if I can get things moving for them. We'll also be looking to clip some wings of some of the Easter eggers. We've done 2 so far. The twins, the one being the big one, like I keep talking about, is Stacy. She keeps flying over the fence. So as soon as we clipped her wings, I think we've only seen her go over the fence once since then, and normally it's a 2 to 3 times a day situation. So it's definitely not ideal, especially with predators around here. We do have foxes and stuff like that. And this year we have more, I'd say more predators in the area, than usual. My neighbor down the road has llamas and a llama pasture behind us. So those guys definitely do a wonderful job of keeping away things. So it's definitely a positive thing about the llamas that I love, and plus they're just adorable. They're fun to come out and, you know, look at and interact with. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear, but you can hear the geese on the microphone. We got a couple of them flying by. And we have a lot of cornfields around here, so they tend to have a big old corn party and eat up everything in the fields after they've plowed them down, gotten all the corn and harvested all of it. It's definitely a very foggy morning after all the rain that we just got. But the one thing I'm definitely thankful for is a family that supports this lifestyle. They're definitely in it. It's really nice to see, especially because Alina and I came from families that didn't have anything to do with this kind of lifestyle, and never even really got into it, and we didn't really know this was a type of lifestyle that we could live. So the goal is to, you know, eventually work a little bit less, have more time with the family, and maybe even move to a smaller piece of property with more land on it in the future. We're just kind of in the process of what do we need, how much do we need, where can we go, and then also we're going to be looking at filing our bills down very minimally. We've done a pretty decent job of that so far, but I'm going to be going over a video today or tomorrow about what I've done to kind of help with that situation and really kind of narrow things down that people may not even notice that they have for bills that they're paying. So now it's off to make breakfast for the kids and get them ready for school. Alright, just gonna make some eggs for the kids. I really like this spindle because it's a first in, first out with the eggs. The only downfall is if they get lodged or any of them go crooked, they will go spiraling down. So you just kind of have to keep an eye on them and help them down a little bit. So we're going to do 4 eggs. That's what the kids eat. And then the key is rinsing these off and washing them before you cook them. That way, in case there's anything on them. It's crazy the difference in the size of the eggs from different chickens. You can tell the Easter egger ones, they have like the greens, we have some pinks. Now if those are all washed, we can get ready to cook them. Never used to be one for cast iron before, but as I've the wife has convinced me more and more to use it, it's definitely been a lot nicer to use. We're going to use some of the raw cow's milk that we got. And mix up some eggs. And it's funny because I'd never tried goat's milk before, and I actually lived on a goat farm. But it just wasn't one of those things. We only milked them for the kids. It was never something that we, used ourselves or anything like that. So when Alina brought it home, I was definitely nervous because I'd never tried it before. I wanted to like it, but I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. But honestly, it doesn't taste any different than cow's milk. And I always joke that, well, hopefully they don't get into the onion patch. And I know some breeds, from what I'm hearing, taste different. But I didn't mind it at all. Definitely did some research into drinking and consuming raw milk and understanding where it comes from and the cleaning practices of whoever is milking and everything like that. So that was definitely a concern. But after seeing everything, we got a tour of the farm. So it was pretty cool. It was a Mennonite family. The kids were awesome. They were out playing tags with my kids. Brought them into the barn so they could pet the goats and see the goats. But yeah, it was really cool. And like I said, didn't taste anything different. Same thing with the raw cow's milk. Doesn't taste really any different than what you get at the store. Definitely a little bit more expensive, but it's more of a wholesome product. And it's crazy too. I mean, same thing with milk, same thing with eggs. If you've ever had eggs fresh versus the store-bought eggs, the yolks are a lot darker, and that throws some people off because they think there's something wrong with it. I remember when I first got into this, some of the yolks were almost orange, and the darker the yolk, the healthier it is. And with the eggs in the stores, you don't know how long they've been sitting there. At least with fresh eggs, you know what's going on with them, you know where they come from, you know that you're handling them correctly. We've never had to get into preserving eggs just yet because we tend to go through them pretty quickly, and if we don't, we try to, just because we don't want them to go to waste. We don't have pigs that you can just feed everything to. So at this point, let's use them up before we lose them. That way we don't have to worry about preserving them, and we can just eat them as we need to. And once it gets into wintertime, the production definitely slows down, and you see a lot less eggs. And anyone who has chickens definitely sees that. But like I said, I'm going to be trying some new techniques this year to see if I can keep that egg production flowing very well. So we can have fresh eggs through the winter time too. I think we've only had to buy eggs once in the last 3 or 4 years, which has been amazing, and we haven't bought chicken in the last year. So the self-sufficiency is really what I'm kind of going for at this point with the family. We just want to see, how much we can produce on our land and produce our own. And like I said, the goal, I guess, just like anyone else, like I said before, is getting 100% self-sufficient on yourself. So that way you're growing everything so that you can trade, so that way you can sell and buy other things. So if someone has a great squash season and you have a great broccoli season, you can trade that kind of stuff. But that's really what we're going for. Alright, so now that the eggs are done, the kids can eat some breakfast, we can get this day started. Got a full day's worth of remote learning ahead of us. So it's definitely going to be interesting, juggling 2 different schedules. I definitely feel bad for anybody out there that has, multiple kids, 3, 4 kids, anyone in higher grades, because this is just a lot with this pandemic going on and trying to keep everybody going, keep everybody on the same schedule. For any of the working families out there, kudos to you. I know Alina and I trying to juggle it, it's not easy, but just know that you're not alone, that everybody is going through this, and that we will make it through. It's just going to take some work and some sacrifice, unfortunately, but we will make it through. So I just want all you guys to know that.
It's a good day.
You like it?
Yeah, it's 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, we've always liked the fresh eggs. You know, what do you got there? You got your, what are you gonna put on your toast?
Blueberry jelly.
Oh, that's the stuff that Mommy made from the blueberry bushes, yeah.